Okay.
Back to the original point, though. No, I mean, like anything that is optional isn't really optional. Though, like, whenever somebody says an optional heroic knight, optional mythic plus knight, like, everybody knows what that means, man. The guilds that have, like, oh, you know, we're 2-day raiding guilds, but we have an optional heroic knight, and, like, the entire guild is there.
Silence.
Because you need loot.
1.
Yeah,
2.
anything
Nova.
I guess sometimes, I don't know, I guess sometimes
Spread. B.
Man, they don't really want loot. Like, if you have
AoE.
they want your body to get more loot.
Yeah. Dude, that's the
AoE. Dodge.
When you get more loot, you can't have anyone to not build because you're not going to loot council. And that whole mess with the like numbers body of the loot, I've always been frustrated by that. Because especially, I remember like early on, I always had these like bad
Nova.
literally not even get to go not bad, like he's literally just as good as anyone in the game. There's like, whoa, you know, blah blah blah.
My
this many people and this many tier pieces.
AoE.
It's so annoying.
What do you guys think about the unwritten rule that's supposed to like play every single day? Especially like once you reach a certain level. Like, do you think that that's do you think that whole I mean, Squish is giving me a face. Do you think
I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this?
do you not think that there's like an unwritten rule with like mythic rating where you might only raid 4 days a week, but you're expected to kind of log in 5, 6, or 7 to make sure that you're continuing to do keys, continuing to get gear to make sure you don't fall behind in terms of like Crest and whatnot, or like playing outside of raid? Do you just have people who don't play out? Do you just have people who don't play outside of raid?
Oh, every one
Sure. I mean, it depends on the guild. I mean, at the top level, yeah, that's probably somewhat to be expected, but like this last season, the Tuesday, I didn't do a single key on the Tuesday of release.
I think did.
I did.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the Tuesday of release. Did you play that Friday of release?
Dodge.
So Saturday?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
You see what I'm saying, though, right?
I know what you're saying, but like, I don't think that's an unwritten rule. Like, obviously they want to, but like,
a gift.
Get your shit done, I guess, is what most guilds want. Get gear. If you get like the god week 1 in your first like 8 keys, you're all geared up. You have stuff else to get. Like, I don't think they expect you to play anymore unless you're like tank or healer or something.
Yeah, I mean,
but a lot of people just like playing the game, so they're going to do that regardless.
I mean, I feel like this video, I mean, this shows this kind of unwritten rule where it's like there's this expectation that we're only raiding 4 days a week, but you're playing at least 6.
That's the difference between doing it like playing the game because you feel forced to. Like, he did 100 keys to help the game. I think he enjoyed it.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. He was at 91 on Monday, and he's like, I'm going to finish off 100. I'm like, I remember he told me that in a Dark Flame quest. So, 100 is a lot, but like, I think he just honestly enjoys playing with friends, and he just enjoys doing keys, so power to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, the thing is you say every day, but really it's very, very concentrated, right? Like, when the new pass is out, when the new thing is out, when the stuff is right, yeah, it's kind of, if you're in a mythic game, right? Because again, it's all about the limit. It's going to be something to do that, you know, you need to get performance to do more damage than you're expected to be doing, right? And I think that, but the thing is, though, it sounds way worse than it is, because it's like, well, generally that's like the first 2 to 3 weeks of raid mode at most, and then it's like an hour like maintenance mode where, you know, you do your crest cap, but even your crest cap, right? Like, let's say you're progressing in Mythic, you get most of the crest just from doing the farm bosses anyway, so there's very, very little to do upkeep-wise once you get, like, everything rolling. So, I don't know. Like, it sounds bad. Is it true that we're playing every day for the first couple weeks of the patch? Yeah, but I think, you know, everybody kind of wants to. Everyone's, like, you know, logged in and playing.
Definitely not enough people want to play, yeah. So in this video as well, Cinderbrew was actually every single boss in the raid. I think he was the token rogue, the token poison buff as well.
Yeah, I mean, so there was a funny quote that he had, and this goes back to my comment about the performance, is that he talked about how part of being a trial was that they're going to try differently to go out and beat the bosses. And that, okay, well, you know, I might be in for the boss, you know, the underworld or the undergrounds. No, he was in for every single boss because he's the best player, and that's the only fucking thing that matters. Like, I just think that performance and like how good you are is once the tier, like once you're losing, once it comes down to the boss, it's so unbelievably important. And I laughed so hard. Like, he basically like was anticipating being benched for every boss. Right? Because he's like, well, I might not be in on the first boss because there's lots of trials, there's 10 different trials, there's 30 people to kill, he's in. And then the second boss, well, I was in on the first boss, oh, he's in. The third boss, he's in. Okay, now it's the fifth boss, this is a really hard boss. And I was laughing because I'm like, they put you in for the first 4 bosses. Obviously they want you in, right? Because if they didn't, then they wouldn't be giving you the food. And it's like, I don't know. That's why I kind of don't really like this whole like trial thing or like social thing or whatever. Like ultimately the most important thing by far is that you're not a jerk and that you show up to raid and you do well and you put in effort. And like if you're doing well in the raid, then basically nothing else matters. Pretty high up.
My power is trash.
Wish any thoughts on him being in?
I know, it's like a depressing take, right? Like I know it's depressing for him to be like, oh my god, there's our weekend heroes. Oh my god, people's channels in Discord while they were streaming, and oh, you guys are so friendly and playing ARAM and League of Legends. But like, dude, like at the end of the day, it just be good. Ultimately, like once the raid comes out, anyone can try any the boss and just hold rank and then and you're just a good player and you're owning and you're going to be in for your build. And again, right, like, I'm not talking about going in the negative, right? I'm not saying you start, you know, you're talking to officers demanding you like obviously that's going to become a problem, but you know, at the end of the day, like if you suck ass, if you think that showing up to the weekend tonight is going to be put in on Twister, I got bad news. That was
I think originally, dude, I ended this video and I was like, the main point of this message is just to be really fucking good.
yeah, I mean,
My power.
It's always gonna help.
Something as well is they ended up overtiming for Hall of Fame. I feel like pretty much, I don't want to say all, but most guilds who get Hall of Fame overtime. Is this, whenever you're joining a Hall of Fame level guild, should this be an expectation that you're gonna overtime at least in some capacity?
If people want to do it, do it.
Oh
like,
no, my
if everybody wants to do it, that's fine. The issue is when there's a subset of people, maybe even one, that doesn't want to.
Spread.
They feel it.
Silence.
Problem.
1,
And
2.
that is going to be different. I keep
Nova.
thinking. Because realistically,
Totem.
Hall of Fame. It's a video game. That's it.
Yeah.
That's literally it. It's a title that you will not use, that nobody uses, that usually sucks. Not a good title. And you get your no actually wait, you don't get your name run full. So you don't actually get there. So like who the fuck looks at guilty? But like I get it. You want to feel accomplishment. If people want to do it, If you don't want to do it and you go forward to it, then that's
Get to the point where every guild is overtime these days.
because they can't extend it randomly.
Well, no, I mean even before that, like I feel like this is a thing starting like Shadowlands where everybody was just overtime, and it's just continued since then too. When nobody raids set hours, nobody raids like what schedule they post online. They all just rock. They Titan Forge like 2 or 3 raid nights a week.
yeah, so I mean, there's 2 sides of this. I remember in BFA, there was a Twitter account, right? It was called the Overtime Police. And they would look at logs of guilds, right? Rating when they said they were rating, and then they would point them out and publicly shame them. And back then it was like, you know, a lot of guilds would pride themselves on being reasonable with their raid hours and still accomplishing, you know, good ranks.
Look at the pen tweet of this, by the way. This
Totem.
This one.
Totem.
me and a fucking me as a hood. It's literally
Oh, wait, you, what the hell? Jeez. I mean, at the end of the day, like, not to bring it back to the but, you know, you're creating this goal, right, of Titan or or basically is a title, right, of the Hall of Fame.
Josh.
Well, ultimately, the more you play in this time frame, the more likely you are to get there. Like, just be keep going to boss. Well, guilds are, like, things are getting harder and harder and more competitive, and now, if you want to reach this title, you have, like, you feel obligated to say, okay, let's make it happen. Like, let's spend another hour. Like, hey, let's show up anyway, you know, like, it's, you're trying to reach a goal, and you feel obligated to do it. There's a lot of people that want it. The mean for me, right? Like, I don't, most of the time, I don't really know. If I wasn't
Dodge.
I you get my point. Most of the time, the problem is it also turns into peer pressure. Like, if you're not in a region, mostly, like, it might sound like, oh, the guild leader or the officer is really, you know, you feel like you have to keep your spot, but really it's like, generally speaking, like 15 plus people are right? Like, they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's like, it's really tough to do that. Especially if you play an important role, right? If you're a priest or the paladin or the shaman, and you're like, your guild literally wouldn't even get that buff unless you show up. Like, yeah, it can feel kind of bad. I think that's maybe a good thing also to include is when you're entering this mythic raid is about what your raid times are. You know, if you're somebody who doesn't care and you're around all night, yeah, sure, you know, I don't mind overtiming because that might get you bonus points, right? If your guild also wants to do that. Likewise, if you're somebody who has a strict schedule and you have to be off the computer by this time for work, it's like, well, you got to make that clear. Right? 2 weeks into the tier, your guild is like, you know, wanting to you might feel
AOE. Nobody.
Like, stick to your schedule, getting called out. Now it's just like, the focus very much is like, like, have fun in the game. Good luck. Yeah.
Like, exactly, right? Because a lot of times it's like, you know, oh, we have all of our people online because we're happy, you know, everyone's having fun and we want to play, you know,
exactly, like, if you want it, like, oh no, you know, the community is going to get upset at it. Like, why should we care what somebody else does, realistically? Like, there is no formal rules here. People already can cheat in the Race to World First if they really want to.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is just the competitive part of it, right? It's like sort of what I was saying about M+ stuff. Well, you might not care, but guild really cares about a lot of people. How much you know what they do. And even if you don't care, you're just playing for fun. Like,
Nobody.
You know, what if your guild now realizes that you're not going to get all of it? You got all the things for the last 8 years, and now you're not going to get it. Every fucking guild is raiding an extra 10 hours. And you did, like, your guild is literally moving, and the other guilds are just raiding more, and now you're not going to get the title that you've gotten raiding. What's going to do, you know? I think it's like, it's a tough spot. There's not really a right or wrong answer, but I definitely think that shaming other people or, like, you know, at the end of the day, if people want to do it, you can let them do it. But the problem is, like, you know, this pseudo-competitive level. I mean, it's sort of what WoW is about, right? Like, it's not really competitive, but at the end of the day, it is, right? Like, everyone does titles, guild race, IOs, and it's like, even if you don't take the name that much, you still do care about these numbers.
The part to me that always throws me off is, like, why are people lying about or like they're advertising that they're rating a certain number of days a week or hours a week, and they just end up rating. That to me was always the part that kind of threw me off. People being a little bit dishonest about how much they raid.
I think that's the part that's like, if you want to raid more, it's very much about it. Like, we sometimes go to the Hall of Fame. Okay, cool. Like, feel free to do, you know, people out here go about that. But I think, like, despite what I said earlier, Hall of Fame is a good mechanism. People want it. People are going to go for it. But ultimately, it's a shitty title in a game that no one uses or ever.
Dude, it's so random, brother. I remember they announced it, and then it's just like the first season. It's the title's Famed Slayer of G'huun, and you just the first time you get it, you never fucking use this title either. It's just like, what is even going on?
It's like the mythic mount of an end boss. The second you get it, you put it on for like 2 weeks. Then it becomes too common, and you see it too often in the main city, so you just take it off and go back to your regular mount.
Any kind of thoughts on the, joining a Mythic Rating guild stuff?
Run.
That was back expected and really with the guild one moved on. And then we actually moved on to another guild. So if I'm understanding, I'm sorry to spoil the video right now. At the end of the video, he revealed that he's very new guild, and that guild that he revealed is already hopped to a better guild than
Incredible.
Now he's in one of the top guilds on NA, and he's 3,800 IO. He is for DPS on NA, he's 23rd. He's 125th. That's like he is really high ranking in Mythic Plus, and then his guild is fairly good. They got US 25th. Nothing to scoff at. Rolled 89. Okay. Did you watch the NBI finals this weekend?
I did not.
Dude, you missed out.
I've heard. Although I've heard the most common thing that I heard about the FBI was why is credit.
Yeah, that's a good question. The short of it is that they don't send their best teams because RMT is their main source of income.
Yes.
And
yeah, I mean,
since RMT is their main source of income, the concept of them taking months off to come in fourth place is not a very attractive prospect. It's kind of like some of the top teams actually taking months off streaming. You only do it for the love of the game. And they also, from talking to some people in the Chinese region, if they don't do well, let's say they participate in the NBI or PvP and they don't do as well as the community expects them to do, then they get bullied and actually get less sales because of it.
yeah. I mean, you have a YouTube video.
I did make one on that.
Yeah. But I just saw that. I saw that criticism on the NBI like everywhere, like Reddit, Twitter, stuff like that. So like, I figured it was just important to get that out there, right?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit harsh. In general, people value different things, and especially like when it comes to different regions that don't necessarily communicate as much. Like, it's very clear that China cares a lot about the ladder. There's tons of insanely good teams, insanely good players playing on the ladder. You go over Raider IO. I think the top, I think 8 of the top 10 and all of the top 5 or something. I don't know how. I haven't been really up to date with Littleton fan, so they're close. But either way, right?
7 out of the top 10 teams.
Yeah, so 7 out of the top 10 teams. They're putting a ton of time into pushing on the ladder. And if you're doing PvP, you're not on the ladder. Look at now, where's Kira's team? Where's Gingy? Where's any of these guys, right? No, they're all in tournament realms. So at the end of the day, like, it just comes down to what people enjoy and what they prioritize. And I think that in general, I would say most people listening would probably, most people prefer playing on the ladder. Like, it's just a more chill experience. You play when you want. You don't feel like you're like locked to some sort of rules. You don't get disqualified for using previous expansion potions. And so it's like, it's almost like kind of the opposite. It's like, dang, we're all the EU teams on the ladder right now. But I think we're going to see some of the teams that comes out from NBI. Usually Echo or Green Bar comes off of PvP and starts to do a couple of weeks of pushing and catches up with all the teams. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't know, the kind of teams did okay. They were bad, you know. These teams, the teams that they're competing with have dedicated fully, you know, every single day for like the last 1 to practice that they've had is like insane.
I thought this team right here, Green Player, they were like 2 minutes and a motherload away from making it to day 2. I thought this team was going turbo 8. Like, this was known that they were kind of going 8, but this team almost qualified for the Saturday. And it's one of those things too that a Chinese team has already won a TPP and came in 2nd place in the NBI, so they have proven that if they send their top teams, they can do well. They just don't send their top teams. Their top teams just don't want to play.
Yeah, but from our perspective, I didn't have interest with this, so, and I'm pretty sure I was busy over the weekend as well. So I stuck it on the front page a lot, and we called it.
I think it's the best in
Yeah, it was a banger final day. We had a very interesting thing too. Pretty much almost always there's just one team that's sort of the best, or two teams that are tied and doing the same things. But it was actually the first time that we had a three-way situation where three teams had a key that each of the others didn't have. So one team had a 22 Motherlode, one team had a 22 Theater, and the other team had a 22 Cinderbrew. And so it was a very interesting situation. All the teams were able to pick up something that the other teams couldn't necessarily replicate, and day three was like a really good scramble. Top of the craft, last play. That just down to the wire there. Wonderbar was trying to be mandatory decided that there's just going to be a tiebreaker, and so then at the last second, Echo Wonderbar said, all the time have a basically perfect run in order to beat the previous.
I heard it's based on time, yeah.
Yeah, it was very exciting. So that anytime you're like, it's down. That's that it's 1v1. So when you get those situations where two teams neck and neck, it's very, very exciting. So you don't always get that in TGP. A lot of times the excitement happens kind of randomly throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, it's time there. But this one really went down to like that exciting moment. Watching this mandatory could shave more time off, or if Wonderbar can shave time off. Big shout out to him. He had insanely big shoes. I can't imagine how freaking big he would be in this game. Imagine the first FBI, or rather, what is it? With playing with now when you're doing a 1 Cinderbrew that needs to be done perfectly, and if you don't, you can like that may have been the most nerve-wracking like moment of the
So this is the first tournament of this format that a team didn't win by a point. This was the first time that we've ever actually gone to time tiebreakers, and I think that it came down to the fact that Wonderbar didn't realize that 22 Cinderbrew Meadery was timeable, and Mandatory didn't realize that 22 Theater Pain was timeable. And so both of them had the path to get to 131 points, but neither of them realized it. It also sounded like from talking to all of the teams, nobody had timed like 23 Motherlode in practice. There was a lot of time. I talked to Grover a little bit in part 7. He said that other 5 dungeons, they'd actually not timed any of these on this key level, but they had kept running it down during practice. It sounded like legitimately every team was like running it in practice just because of how hard these dungeons were, and they all overperformed expectations on the tournament.
I mean, that's really cool. Everybody locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to AJ after day 2. That was when they sent the 23 Motherlode, and
that was crazy.
I was like, dude, that was so Giga Chad. He's like, you've never done that before. I'm just like, bro, what?
So
like,
have
what do you mean?